This is completely bananas. With Bitcoin breaking support above 22,000 US dollars, is it now heading all the way down to this price target right here, and potentially entering the bone zone. And nearly every time that Bitcoin has printed a golden cross, this exact thing has happened afterwards, and it's the opposite of what you probably think it is. And Dan Morehead, nice, Pantera CEO, says that the 7th bull cycle for Bitcoin has just begun. And I have this absolutely mind-blowing chart I want to share that once you see it, you will go completely nuts. And look at this very cool picture of Luigi from the Sonic the Hedgehog games holding a Bitcoin. Now that's pretty cool. Right now the price of Bitcoin is on the verge of a very big move, but the big question now is that since we've broken support below, we've broken below 23 and 22,000, is Bitcoin now kind of about to free fall to some very different price targets and a very different price range? And that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. But first off, I want to talk about this also. Is it possible that we've actually now busted into Bitcoin's 7th bull cycle? That is the question. And the Pantera Capital CEO, Dan Morehead, nice, what a cool last name, says that he looks at 2023 as a year of rebuilding trust. And what does he mean by that? Well, I think one piece of interesting trivia about this is that last year, I believe it was last year, like there was a massive amount of crypto ads at the Super Bowl, right? I mean, even the referees at the World Series for baseball were like wearing FTX uniforms, and there was a million crypto ads at the Super Bowl and stuff like that. And I heard news reports that there's not going to be like any Super Bowl crypto ads this year. And that's obvious. I mean, the reason for that is obvious. One, the prices have gone down a lot, so people aren't as interested. Two, I mean, people are just very not interested in crypto right now. Three, FTX was a giant scam, so it doesn't look good. There's a lot of reasons why there's probably not going to be many ads or any ads at the Super Bowl. And basically this year is a year of, well, quiet accumulation. And Dan Morehead believes that in this quiet accumulation, we've seen the low and we have initiated the next bull cycle here. And so I think that's very interesting, if that's the case. I do personally think that the low is in. I do personally think that it's going to, I don't think we're very close to all-time highs whatsoever. I think it's like at least a year away, in my opinion, any chance of all-time highs. And I believe also that the pump we're seeing right now is still only part of a relief rally, and I've been saying that for weeks. So I don't have a strong opinion on if we're in a bull cycle or not. I personally think, things look pretty bearish still, right? However, the beginning of bull markets, I do want to point out, the beginnings of bull markets never look like bull markets, right? They always look like bear market relief rallies. They always look like bear markets, the very beginnings of them. And he highlights the percentage gains and the time for some of these price cycles here. And I think there's a strong case to be made. My opinion on this in particular is not made up. I don't have a made up opinion on that. But as well, Mags on Twitter here talking about this simple retest, which again, I think is just, we've already talked about this, but I think the way it's illustrated is very nice to the eye, and you can see why. You can see that downtrending initial level that we saw in 2019, similar to right now in 2023, an initial retest. And if it goes anywhere like it did in 2019, then again, after we get this retest and find support, if we're able to do that, then it's very likely that the Bitcoin price is going to go up. Now, one thing I do want to highlight is that in just a couple of days, we'll be getting the next CPI print. And I believe this inflation number is not going to be as bullish. I believe they even raised the expected CPI print for January of 2023. So it's possible that could have some negative price impact. We've had 3 underestimates on the CPI, which have helped the markets, I believe, over the last 3 months. But, if we don't get as positive of a one this CPI print for January in just 3 days, then, we could add this to the retest scenario of getting a little bit of dumpage first. And also I want to highlight this chart here, again, posted by Crypto Noob, with Bitcoin's price holding along this long-term trend. This goes all the way back to like 2010-ish, this chart. And we see these crosses that initiate at the bottom of bear markets that lead into bull markets. And it's just very big. So one thing, though, we do see very often with these golden crosses is that we very often dump after we get them. Not only that, we also go below the 50 day moving average, and sometimes even the 200. But like we almost always go below the 50-day moving average. So for example, if we see that again, we could easily see Bitcoin below 20K, and that's what I've been talking about for weeks. We could very easily see that, and it would still be a normal retest out of of this relief. We saw this here where we fell below the 200 and 50-day moving averages back in 2021, and we ended up still going a lot higher. We fell below the 50-day moving average here as well. You can see that back in 2020. So yeah, it's absolutely something that happens on these charts. And actually only one time in like the past 5 years have we just not gone below the 50-day moving average after a golden cross. Even though it's debatable, we might have actually gone below it. No, it looks like we pretty much held on to it here back in 2019. But anyway, the point is, just because we've gotten a golden cross does not mean that we're going to just start pumping. In fact, very often, as soon as we get a golden cross, there usually is dumps within a week or two after getting that. So again, that's totally normal. That's something we see all the time. And obviously we have the death cross here. Similar story in terms of like, it doesn't really guarantee that it'll go one way or another right away. But are we heading down to this next level of support now that we've broken below this level that we've held on to? We were holding on to for a couple weeks there. But this level is all the way down at about 20,000. So again, I personally think that entering the bone zone down at these levels is not something to be afraid of, or not something to count out, to discount, because I believe it's very possible that we do that. And as well, the DXY still in a position to where it's gonna have to make a make or break move this upcoming week, and I think it will. Absolutely. And the SPX as well is right now testing right on top of its 21-day moving average, and for support. Now, if we do not hold there, look where we go. Most likely, look how much support is here. The long-term, year-long level of resistance now most likely turn support, right? Also with the 50 and 200-day moving average right around 3,950 to 4,000, right in that range, because there's three different price levels right here. This would be huge support, in my opinion. And I personally think that, again, if we get a back test of that, absolutely healthy. If we can hold that, then I believe very likely we initiate a mega pump afterwards. And look where Bitcoin is right now. Right beneath its death cross right here that we see. Right here. Also testing basically the very tippy top of this like 15 plus month falling wedge. Gigantic. Okay, gigantic. Keep in mind, if Bitcoin is able to break these levels here over the next couple of weeks, it's very likely we initiate a much bigger pump. And that's what's exciting here. Because again, if we look at this chart, if we initiate any sort of pump similar to 2019 here, we could easily see, again, mid 30,000s very quickly. Okay, and that would absolutely, I believe, if we did see mid 30,000s over the next couple of weeks, I think that the bearish narrative would be dead. But then again, that's exactly where I believe a relief rally would end, and we could initiate then a multi-week pullback. So there's the catch-22, or the little trickaroo for you, is that, say we do retest for a couple days and we end up breaking above 30K, a lot of people will get bullish, and then again, that would be an amazing bull trap. Where, let's say we break 30K, 33, 34K, and then the weeks after that, maybe we get a pullback back down to 25, 24,000 or something like that. That would shake a lot of people out, and that's exactly how the market moves. So that's exactly what type of price action, price movement you should be expecting. If you see that scenario of right now we're at 22K, 21K, and we go up to the mid 30,000s, and then we get a pullback down to the mid 20,000s or even a little lower, if you think that's impossible, then you simply have very little experience in these markets, and you have absolutely no idea how this market moves, because that is exactly the type of multi-month move that happens with Bitcoin all the time, and is a scenario that makes more sense than basically any other multi-month price action that I've seen talked about for Bitcoin's price. So you guys should make sure to like, subscribe, turn on those ghost notifications, turn this is absolutely time-sensitive alerts. As well, BITGET actually just launched a new copy trading feature with BITGET. So if you want to check that out below, if you sign up with my link in the description below, you'll get free sign-up bonuses in addition to 0 fees with spot trading. And it's very simple. You can use the copy trade feature. Basically, all it is, you can follow along with somebody. You can check their P&L, see how well they're doing. So you pick somebody with 5,000, 2, 3, 4, 5,000% gains. You can follow and trade alongside them, and you can do it on spot as well. Without any further ado, that's it for me.